If you're building an online business, honestly, choosing your e-commerce platform is probably the single biggest decision you'll make this year.
Oh, absolutely. It's the engine, right? For your growth, your sales, how customers experience your brand.
Exactly. And picking the wrong one, well, it can really saddle you with hidden fees you didn't expect, or you suddenly find you just can't scale up.
And the stakes are high. Global e-commerce is heading towards, nearly $5 trillion by 2030. Your platform choice genuinely defines how competitive you can be in that market.
So the fundamental choice, the big fork in the road for every entrepreneur, is SaaS, software as a service, or going the open source route.
That's the core decision, and it really hinges on your business's technical know-how, your resources, and frankly, what you actually needed to do, B2C, B2B, maybe some kind of hybrid. Okay, let's unpack that. Segment 1, defining these two battlegrounds. Starting with SaaS, think Shopify, or maybe Wizishop. How does that model actually work?
Right, so SaaS is essentially a subscription. You pay a fee, and you access the software over the internet. The key thing is the vendor, the provider, manages everything behind the scenes.
Everything
meaning the hosting, all the software updates, the day-to-day maintenance, and crucially, security. They handle making sure you're compliant, like with PCI Level 1 for payments, getting your SSL certificates sorted. It's kind of like buying peace of mind.
Okay, so for someone just starting out, the advantages seem pretty clear. Lower upfront costs.
Yeah, typically lower initial costs. It's highly accessible. You can manage your store from pretty much anywhere, any device. And that outsourced security and compliance piece is huge. Plus, they're generally built to scale easily from the get-go.
But there's always a trade-off with that convenience, isn't there? Usually control.
Absolutely. You've hit the nail on the head. You have less control over the underlying code, the infrastructure. You're dependent on the provider's features, their pricing tiers, their app store.
So if you need something really specific, really custom that they don't offer,
you might be stuck. Or you're waiting for them to build it or hoping an app appears. You can't just dive into the core code yourself.
Right. Now let's flip to the other side. Open source. This is the world of platforms like WooCommerce, Magento, PrestaShop. The idea here is the code is open, available to everyone.
Exactly. The code itself is accessible, which fosters a lot of community development and innovation. The software license is usually free. That's the big draw.
Free license, total control over the code, your data. Sounds great.
It is, but, and this is the massive but, you download the software and then you are completely responsible for installing it, usually on your own hosting or servers.
And that's where the free promise starts to get complicated, I imagine, where businesses can get caught out.
That's the crux of it. That perceived free cost can escalate really quickly. You absolutely need significant technical expertise. Either you have developers in-house or you're paying a potentially expensive agency.
Because you're handling the setup.
You handle the initial setup, any advanced customization you want, and all the critical ongoing maintenance. We're talking server security, backups, installing every single update, and patch yourself.
So it's like getting the keys to a custom race car. But you also have to be the entire pit crew forever.
That's a great analogy. You're the mechanic, the engineer, paying for the garage, the tools, the constant upkeep. The free software is just the starting point.
Okay, that really highlights the commitment involved. So before anyone even starts looking at specific platform names, we need to talk criteria. What are the key questions you absolutely have to ask?
Right, let's move into segment 2. There are essential questions. First, think about the technical and management side. Number 1, ease of use.
How simple is it really for someone who's not a coder?
Exactly. Is the interface intuitive? Does it have things like drag and drop builders so you can focus your time on selling and marketing, not wrestling with code?
Makes sense. Second criterion.
Customization. How much control do you actually get? Can your team, if you have one, modify the core HTML, CSS, JavaScript for really deep, unique features? Or are you basically limited to preset templates and whatever apps are available?
That really defines your future flexibility. What's next?
Third, and this is huge, reliability and security. Is the platform providing a secure, stable, constantly updated environment, likely in the cloud? This isn't just nice to have anymore.
Especially with compliance getting stricter.
Precisely. Think about PCI DSS 4.0. It's demanding continuous monitoring, stronger authentication, better encryption to protect customer payment data. If you go open source, meeting that enterprise-level compliance, that burden falls entirely on you.
Wow, okay. And the fourth critical question has to be about money, right? The cost structure.
Absolutely. This is where those hidden fees often lurk. Does the platform take a percentage cut of your sales on top of the standard payment processor fees? We see that sometimes with Wizishop or certain Shopify plans.
Or is it different?
Or is the cost tied to sales volume tiers like BigCommerce does? Or with open source, is it largely unpredictable based on how many hours your developers or agency need to spend fixing, updating, and building? Understanding that cost transparency or the lack of it is vital for your financial planning.
Got it. Ease of use, customization potential, rock-solid security, and a clear cost structure. With those 4 pillars in mind, let's jump into segment 3 and compare some of the big names, starting with the SaaS leaders.
Okay. Shopify is undoubtedly the global giant. It's known for getting you selling fast, simple interface, generally easy to use, huge app store.
But the App Store can be a double-edged sword.
It can. While it offers lots of functionality quickly, many of those crucial apps require their own paid subscriptions. So your monthly costs can climb, depending on what you need. But overall, it's fantastic for startups and SMBs wanting a hassle-free, secure start.
And then there's Wizishop, which you mentioned has a strong European presence.
Yeah, Wizishop is interesting. It's really tailored for the French and European markets, things like local tax rules, GDPR compliance, support in French. A unique selling point is its integrated AI for creating content, like product descriptions or blog posts. Plus, they emphasize built-in SEO optimization.
Okay, shifting gears to open source. WooCommerce is often the first name people think of, especially if they already use WordPress.
Right. If your business is already built around WordPress, WooCommerce is often the natural fit. It offers a lot of flexibility, deep customization potential if you have the skills. But, and we keep coming back to this, you manage everything: hosting, security, maintenance, updates.
And how well it scales depends entirely
on the quality of your hosting plan and how well you manage all the plugins you'll inevitably add. Poor hosting or plugin conflicts can really slow you down.
What about PrestaShop, another significant open source player, especially in Europe?
Good point, yes. PrestaShop is very popular in Europe. It's known for flexible design options and has a large marketplace for add-on modules. But again, like all open source, you need technical skills, either yourself or hired, to really set it up properly and keep it optimized.
And then for the really big players, the enterprises, we have Magento, which is now Adobe Commerce.
Yeah, Magento or Adobe Commerce is the powerhouse for large-scale operations. It can handle enormous amounts of traffic, offers virtually unlimited customization, and has really advanced features needed for complex B2B scenarios, managing multiple brands, different languages, tiered customer pricing, things like that.
But the trade-off is?
It's complex, seriously complex. You need skilled Magento developers, which are expensive. The licensing and ongoing maintenance costs are very high. It's genuinely for enterprise-level businesses. And honestly, we see a trend of businesses migrating away from Magento because of that cost and complexity, unless they absolutely need its specific power.
Okay, let's round this out with a couple others. BigCommerce often gets mentioned as a strong SaaS alternative, maybe sitting between Shopify and the enterprise options.
That's a fair assessment. BigCommerce is SaaS, but it's built with growth in mind. They tend to include more features out of the box compared to Shopify, meaning potentially less reliance on paid apps. And a key differentiator, they generally don't charge transaction fees based on your sales volume.
And finally, for those prioritizing aesthetics, Squarespace, Wix.
Right. If the look and feel of your site is paramount, maybe you're an artist, a designer, a photographer, or a small boutique with a limited product range, platforms like Squarespace and Wix excel. They offer beautiful designs and are incredibly easy to use, but they prioritize that simplicity over deep, complex e-commerce functionality or managing huge inventories.
This platform comparison flows perfectly into our next segment, segment 4. We need to talk specifically about B2B needs and really hammer home this hidden cost of customization. B2B e-commerce isn't just about simple transactions, is it?
Not at all. B2B is often about managing complex relationships. You need features like customized pricing tiers for different wholesale buyers, managing specific company accounts with multiple users, maybe handling different product catalogs, or even multiple brands under one roof. That often requires specialized platforms like Adobe Commerce or maybe something like Commerce.
And this ties into an example you found in the source materials, right? A Reddit discussion about a B2B company doing, what, $600,000 in revenue?
Yeah, it was a great real-world case. They were considering complex options Magento, or even a hybrid setup using Shopify plus WordPress. And the overwhelming advice they got was actually against doing that.
Really?
Yeah.
Why? Why not go for the power if you have the revenue?
Because the experts weighing in understood the long-term reality. The sheer cost and constant headache of maintaining such complex setups, dealing with custom code breaking during updates, needing expensive agencies on retainer, the endless patching, it often outweighs any perceived benefit. The advice was leaned towards a simpler, perhaps slightly less customized, but far more stable and predictable Shopify setup, even for B2B at that scale.
That really drives home the hidden costs we talked about. You mentioned potential figures earlier, paying tens of thousands per year just for maintenance on something like Magento.
Easily. We've seen figures upwards of $60,000 a year, sometimes much more, just for the agency or internal team needed to keep a complex open source platform like Magento running smoothly and securely. That's a massive ongoing operational expense.
Compared to the more predictable, fixed monthly cost of a SaaS solution where security and updates are included.
Exactly. It boils down to this. The freedom of total customization with open source comes tethered to a potentially huge, continuous, and often unpredictable maintenance burden. Most small to mid-sized businesses simply don't have the dedicated internal resources to manage that effectively long-term.
So let's synthesize all of this.
Yeah.
What are the core takeaways for someone listening right now trying to make this choice?
Okay, the main conclusions seem pretty clear. If you're a small business or just starting out, your priority should probably be ease of use and speed to market. So look at Shopify or maybe Wix Squarespace if design is key. If you're in Europe, Wizishop's local adaptation is a strong contender.
And if you're already heavily invested in WordPress or content is central to your strategy,
then WooCommerce is likely your best bet, provided you understand and are prepared for the self-management aspect, the hosting, security, updates, the whole package.
and for the big guys, large enterprises, complex B2B needs.
That's where the powerhouses like Magento, Adobe Commerce come in. But, and it's a big but, only if you genuinely have the substantial budget and the dedicated internal or agency developer resources required to build and sustain it properly. And maybe here's a final provocative thought for you to really consider. What's the single biggest risk in e-commerce today? It might not be your monthly platform fee. It might actually be compliance failure.
How so?
Well, think about those increasingly strict standards like PCI DSS 4.0 we mentioned. They demand continuous security monitoring, stronger authentication, robust data protection. Given that, is the supposed freedom you get from managing your own open source platform truly worth the exponential risk, the cost, and the sheer complexity of maintaining that enterprise-grade security and compliance all by yourself?
That definitely puts the control aspect of open source in a different light, weighing it against potential liability. A really challenging question to ponder. Thank you for walking us through that complex landscape, and thank you for joining us for this deep dive. Remember, this is Le Podcast de Philippe. If you found this helpful, please do share it. It really helps us on our goal to reach 2,000 subscribers. We'll get you on the next one.